Spider-Man and Venom, two great tastes that taste great together.
Yummy.
The multiverse cracked wide open in Spider-Man No Way Home, paving the way for all sorts of characters, bad and good, to make the leap across franchises and enter the Marvel Cinematic Universe. In a crossover foreshadowed by the post-credits scene of Sony's Venom Let There Be Carnage, the Lethal Protector himself shows up in the first post-credit scene of No Way Home, which picks up shortly after the Venom sequel's shocking tease. After seeming to cross universes in Let There Be Carnage and seeing a news report about Tom Holland's Spider-Man, No Way Home definitively confirms that Venom and Eddie Brock were pulled into the MCU. The No Way Home footage shows Eddie and Venom seated at a bar as the symbiote's human host comes to terms with everything MCU related. That includes Thanos, the Infinity Stones, Iron Man, and the Blip, thanks to a patient bartender who's there to explain it all. But when Eddie suggests that he and Venom go and see Spider-Man in New York to talk about their situation, he and Venom are suddenly pulled back to their universe. Those events leave fans with a pretty big question after the dramatic events of Spider-Man No Way Home. Will Venom ever come face-to-face with Spider-Man? Some form of Venom and Spider-Man fighting one another on screen again seems like a sure thing, not only because they fought in the world of Marvel Comics, but also because Sony Pictures holds the rights to both the Spider and the symbiote. The only potential roadblock here is Marvel Studios head Kevin Feige and the studio's plans for the MCU.
The entire relationship between Sony and Marvel and Disney is really unprecedented in Hollywood history, and it's all because everybody loves Spider-Man.
Thankfully, Sony and Marvel seem to have formed a solid working relationship, so it's highly likely Tom Holland and Tom Hardy will share the screen in a Marvel adventure at some point. That said, it's not hard to throw two Marvel characters together and shout fight. A compelling plot will go a long way to making the meeting of these two figures feel natural. After all, a lot of legwork had to be done to get them in the same universe, let alone the same arena. The most important thing seems to be carving out a story for their matchup that makes sense.
Please, Scooby-Doo this crap.
When asked about the prospect of a crossover in the wake of Venom Let There Be Carnage, Holland told Total Film magazine, "I genuinely don't know. It was really exciting to be a part of that film. Obviously, Tom Hardy is one of the greatest actors in the world. I'm happy to say that he's a lovely bloke, but I haven't really given it very much thought." Meanwhile, back in August, Hardy told Esquire, "I would be remiss if I wasn't trying to steer any kind of connectivity. Obviously, that's a large canyon to leap to be bridged by one person alone, and it would take a much higher level of diplomacy and intelligence, sitting down and talking, to take on an arena such as that. The only question left to ask is how the two characters might meet up in the future, and the answer possibly lies in the No Way Home post-credits scene. When Eddie is yanked out of the MCU, he leaves behind a small piece of the symbiote on the bar. It feels like a safe bet that that bit of black goo will find its way one way or another to Peter Parker. Depending on what happens to that dollop of symbiote, Venom could theoretically have a face-off with Spider-Man in the MCU now, whether Tom Hardy is involved or not. And now that the multiverse has been blown open for both characters, Eddie Brock could well make a return visit in the future, or vice versa. Venom tells Eddie in Let There Be Carnage that the symbiote collective mind knows all about the multiverse already. If a fight is in the cards for them, Venom at least would be ready. This all leaves us with just one question. Who wins in a fight between Tom Holland's Spider-Man and Tom Hardy's Venom? That's a topic for another day.
On my planet, I am kind of a loser, like you. But here, we could be more.
Excuse me?
Check out one of our newest videos right here. Plus, even more Looper videos about the Marvel Cinematic Universe are coming soon. Subscribe to our YouTube channel and hit the bell so you don't miss a single one.